Hello everyone, welcome to Civil Sara. And this is our daily mains answer writing initiative where we'll discuss all UPSC, CSE and other state PSC mains examination related questions. And our topic for today is Section 66A of Information Technology Act. And we shall discuss here what is this act and what are the legal provisions under it, what are the constitutional articles related to it, and what are the punishments under it, and why the recent context of this section 66A relevant for UPSC CSE examinations. And we shall structure our studies in such a way keeping the UPSC means answer writing format in our mind. So without further ado, let's begin. So our question is, it is concerning that section 66A of Information Technology Act continues to be used long after it was declared unconstitutional. Examine. यह जांच का विषय है कि आईटी अधिनियम धारा 66A को अनसंवैधानिक घोषित किए जाने के बाद भी लंबे समय से इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है. इसको हमें जांच करना है. So let's understand what is the demand of the question here. The question demands that even after declaring section 66A of IT Act as unconstitutional on the various other reasons, it is still being used to arrest various people under this act. And why the India has been using this act, why the police has been using this act, we shall discuss it in a structured manner and what are the various provisions of this act. So I hope you understood the demand of the question here. So let's move forward and understand how the approach of our answer should be whenever these kind of questions are asked. So whenever these examine explain these kind of keywords comes, you have to give a brief introduction about what is the section and what are the provisions, what are the punishments under this act, and you shall also provide a constitutional articles and cases relevant to that, and you shall structure your answer in a stage by stage manner so that the flow of the answer should be maintained. So how to introduce these kind of questions? You can start with a brief description about section 66A of IT Act, or shall give a context about why this act is used recently for arresting people. And in the body of the answer, you shall mention about the act and the punishments under it, and you can also provide the constitutional articles and the cases involved in it, and various other challenges, and suggest the solutions to address this issue, and conclude it appropriately. I hope you understood the structure of the answer and what all the things should be covered in your answer and what all the things should be discussed in this answer. So let's move forward and understand the introduction of our answer. Like, you can start with a simple introduction like, even 6 years after the Supreme Court had declared the section 66 of IT Act as unconstitutional, the Supreme Court found it distressing and awful that the people are still tried and arrested under this act. You can start with that, or you can also provide the IT Act of section 66A has been used not only in the police station but also in the cases before trials. And you can also start your answer by providing a data like, according to PUCL, there are 745 cases still pending before the district courts of 11 states as the people are accused under section 66A of IT Act. I hope you understood the various other different ways of introducing this kind of questions, and you can start with a simple context and make your introduction an better and effective one. So let's move forward and understand what are the background, and you have to give a brief background about what is the section 66A and why is it relevant. So now let's understand what does section 66A of IT Act provides. Like section 66A, it is dealt with punishment for sending offensive messages through computer, tablet, mobile, etc. by sending offensive messages which might hamper the peace and tranquility of the nation or the society. And under this act, a conviction fetched maximum of 3 years of jail and fine. If a person is convicted under this act, he might face 3 years of imprisonment and a fine. I hope you understood what are the punishment here. So you can also mention that section 66A has been dubbed as draconian, and it has allowed to arrest of several innocent person, and it has led to a public outcry of this scrapping, and it has been scrapped under Shreya Singhal versus Union of India case, and it has been declared constitutional in 2015. Now let's move forward and understand why it is struck down, why the section 66 has been struck down. Because the first thing is, it infringes the right to freedom of speech and expression under article 19 clause 1 clause A, and it also upsets the balance between the right and the reasonable restrictions. And you can also mention the other main reason is the definition of these offenses are vague and open-ended. Like the offenses like sending offensive messages, offensive, these are vague and open ended statements. That is why the Supreme Court has scrapped this section 66A of IT Act. I hope you understood the section 66A of IT Act. So let's move forward and understand what are the restrictions on freedom of speech and expression. Like, first we shall discuss Article 19 Clause 2 of the Constitution, which provides reasonable restriction under freedom of speech and expression. First, it says it is if the information, if the message is against the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, and if it is against the security of the state or friendly relations of foreign states, or against the public order, decency, or morality. It might also restrict the freedom of speech if in relation to contempt of court, defamation, or etc. And in the Information Technology Act of 66A, Section 66A, any information which is grossly offensive or information which might be false or causing annoyance shall be declared null or void. And any information, if you know to be false but sent for the purpose of causing inconvenience, shall also be scrapped or shall also be arrested. So these are the various reasonable restrictions for the freedom of speech and expression. So now let's move forward and understand what are the challenges of this section 66A of IT Act. The first challenge is the definition of this expression is completely open ended and it is undefined, and and that every expression used is nebulous in meaning, means it is quietly vague and it is open ended, as we discussed above. And the other challenge is that what may be offensive for one may not be offensive for other, and it is completely relative. Like, what may be annoyance or inconvenience for one may not be an inconvenience or annoyance for another person. So by arresting a person under this charges of offensive messages, etc., is completely unconstitutional. And you can also, there are other challenges of this section 66 of IT Act, as section 66 considers wide parameters which shall allow whimsical interpretations, and law enforcement agencies, like, these are vague. It provides a very vast area and it might be easily misused, and there is no clarity over terms like offensive, grossly, menacing, causing annoyance, etc., which are opening and interpretations. You can interpret anything and you can arrest the people. And it has also outlawed the political satire, cartoons, and caricatures for its proofreading, etc. Like, if any press person, like, if he uses his cartoons or caricatures to question the government, he shall also be booked under this section 66A of IT Act, which is against the democracy of the country and the values of our country. So I hope you understood various challenges of the section 66A of IT Act, and let's move forward and understand how to conclude these kind of questions. Whenever these kind of satirical questions comes, how to conclude our answer. First, you can also mention that India's IT Act and legal remedies is just handful. Like, it considers only handful of cyber crimes, as you know that in this digital era various cyber crimes have been coming up. So our law are not including these crimes under its area of coverage. So it is very important and it is challenging for us. And the ruling will also mean that it will only mean several steps backwards. If we allow this section 66A of IT Act, it will means that our government is taking the steps backward. So it should not be done. And you can also mention that it is very difficult to provide an instance of cyber stalking, bullying, annoyance, etc., and in a no internet world. As we all know that we are living in a digital era, freedom of speech and expression is must, and we shall provide we shall include these points in our governance and make our country a better and a effective one. So I hope you understood what all the things under, if a question of section 66A of IT Act is asked. I hope I covered all the various other dimensions. If you have any doubts and queries, please do comment in the comment section below. If you have any ideas, or if you have any concepts to be covered, please do comment in the comment section below. So please, if you are new to our channel, please do subscribe my channel and like and share my videos. Thank you very much. Your response has been amazing. Thank you very much.